So what I'm going to be showing you today is how to make a mold for the Budmen V5 PPE mask. This is a piece of PPE that's being printed by a community of makers local to the Los Angeles area and provided to the local hospitals. So what I'm going to be showing you is going to be a quicker way. Once we get this mold made, we're going to be able to mold these face shields in about 30 minutes per mold that we generate. I have one mold already here, as you can see. It's a silicone RTV. I'm going to be showing you how to make a little bit better one than this. And so what we're going to be doing is putting the RTV in here. I'm going to show you also how to cast it. That'll be the next video, but for the first video I'm going to show you how to make the mold. What I've done is I've gone ahead and taken the face shield that I downloaded off of the Crash Space Git repository, and I modified it myself. I put a base onto it, and then I also made a mold dam for the edges here. So this will serve to hold the silicone while it's curing. And then when it's done, we can go ahead and peel this off and peel the silicone out of this part right here. And then what we're going to be left with is something like this, which is the everything but the part that we're trying to make. Then what we're going to do is fill that with our resin and cast parts, so we can make these face shields pretty quick. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing is what you're going to need. You're going to need to print the file. I'll go ahead and provide the design file and the STL for this shield mold that I made. You're also going to need a clean work surface. Here I've got it's a folding table, but I put a little protector on it. It's going to get messy. We're going to get silicone all over the place, so it's just something we got to deal with. Other thing you're going to need a level. This is important. What you're going to want to do is when you make your mold, you want to make sure that your mold is being made on the level, so that when you flip it over, it's again level. Because if it's not level, when we go to cast it, the resin is going to tend to pour out one side or the other. So we need to make sure that when we cast this mold, that it is level. So I got a level here. You're also going to need some mold material. I'm using Moldstar 16 Fast. It is a fast setting, shore hardness of 16A RTV. So it's not terribly expensive. These two bottles right here is about $35, $40 or something like that. We're going to use about half of these bottles to make one mold right here. You don't need it. I am going to go ahead and use a gram scale here. I like mixing it by weight because what I've done is I've pre-calculated how much weight of this material I'm going to be using to cast this mold, and I just much prefer casting things by weight. I think it's much more accurate. Although this stuff is by volume. It's a 1-to-1 by volume, 1-to-1 by weight ratio. You're going to want to get yourself some gloves. I got some nitrile gloves here. This stuff gets messy, so you want to make sure that you're not getting it on your hands. And I guess the last thing we'll need, mixing cup, mixing stick, and then I'm going to get some tape. So let me get the tape, and we're going to start off here. So the first thing we're going to do is prepare the mold. One thing I've done before I got here is when I printed this, I actually had a little bit of leveling issue. This part, peeled up. I'm not that great at 3D printing. It peeled up. It wasn't flat, so that's going to cause a problem when we go to mold this. So what I've done is I've taken a nice flat sheet of MDF, cut it about the right size that we need, and I've gone ahead and glued it down, forcing this edge down as well as the rest of it. So it's now flat. So I'm going to go ahead and make this part right here. I've got another one printing, so hopefully that one is more flat. I got some more built-in adhesion on this print. So go ahead and get started here. First thing we're going to do is tape this down. We want to make sure that it doesn't spill. So first I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to run some tape around it so that it doesn't spill on the sides. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. I went around, I put 2 rows of tape. One is to hold the dam down to the mold, and the other is just to provide an extra backing seal layer in case any silicone leaks through. Also went and I made a little bit bigger dam on the back side here with the tape. I did also have some adhesion issues, bed adhesion issues on this side with my dam, so it was a little low. It's probably not gonna spill over, but I just want to be safe and provide a little extra dam there. So next thing we're going to do is go ahead and mix up our mold material. One thing that's going to be important is to mix these both separately before you start pouring it into your mixing cup. They do tend to settle out. These ones both had lots of sediment down at the bottom that took a lot of stirring to get those stirred up. But I've already gone ahead and done that prior to this video, so I'm just going to go ahead and use them as is. But you should definitely do that. I did pre-calculate for this volume. I'm going to need about 400 grams to fill it to the level I want to. So I'm going to mix up probably just a little bit more than that. So I'm going to pour about 220 grams of each of these materials into the cup. Go ahead and mix it, and we'll pour it. So let's go ahead and do that. Well, one thing I should mention here is we need to make sure that this is level, because once we mix it, it's going to be quick. So let's go ahead and level this plate here. I got some popsicle sticks here as shims. Okay, so that's about level. I'm gonna go ahead and mix these up. My grand scale won't turn on unless I take the batteries out for 10 seconds or so. Oh, and before we do this, let's get the gloves on. And I'm also going to spray it with a little mold release. This is not necessary. Okay, we got these mix measured out, and I'm going to go ahead and mix these up. We want to make sure we give a good scrape on the side of the containers, mix it very, very well. This is only going to have a few minutes working time, so we got to work fast. But you want to be thorough, because if we don't get it mixed up, this silicone just won't cure, and you're going to end up with defects in the mold. So it also helps to clean out your mixing cups if you go through mixing it a lot, because once it cures, it'll just peel right out and your mixing cup will be clean. Okay, so I'm going to start by pouring this in at the low spot and let it fill up from there. So I'm just going to start pouring this in. Okay, so I ended up mixing up a little bit too much there. I got the whole mold filled up, and I'm going to weigh this out just to see how much I didn't end up using. Actually, the scale's not working. I'll come back to that. Alright, well, we're going to let this cure for about, it'll take, it says 30 minutes or so, but I'm going to give it an hour, because if we don't give it an hour, it still might be a little gummy in some places, so we'll give it a full hour to cure, and then we'll go ahead and demold it. We'll be back then.